Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, geeks of all ages, welcome to the show we call Geek Smack, the show where I smack the geek out of you, and then I smack the, it's not even out here. Smack the geek out of you. Anyway, how you doing? Welcome to the show. Welcome to the pre-show, what we call the VLOG. It's hard to do with two hands at once. But anyway, my name is Jeffrey Powers. Thanks a lot for coming to the show we call Geek Smack, the show where we smack the geek out of you. Like Amazon's going to be smacking out of the whole streaming box system. So we're on the VLOG section. This is basically what's going on in Geekazine world, what's going on in my world, what's going on in your world. I want to find out a little bit more about you. Tell me a little bit about yourself. How you doing? Well, that's good to hear. And what's your day like today? Is it a great day? Awesomeness. Thank you very much for coming to the show. Now, we do this live every single Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. So feel free to come back, on your lunch break or something like that, and or maybe after lunch, you're just kind of getting back into the work day, and you're going, okay, need a little bump as to what the news is, what's going on, and how many times Jeff can do this. Maybe a little bit of disco action. I don't know. What is going on in your world? You let me know. And that's where, you can go and tweet me at Geekazine or geekazine@gmail.com. Think magazine, put in a geek, boom, you got Geekazine. All right. So, what's the first of all? Well, first of all, it's April Fool's Day. And have you been fooled yet? I mean, there's been a lot of stuff, especially Google. Google's big on the April Fool's jokes. The big one is the David Hasselhoff Auto Awesome picture. So people take their picture, it goes up on Google. Google uses this thing called Auto Awesome, which basically will, if you take like several pictures of the same thing, Auto Awesome will actually turn it into an animated GIF. Or if they take multiple pictures and they think that it should be a 4-frame box, they'll do that. Well, apparently they've been put David Hasselhoff into the picture. And I don't know, pretty cool. So I haven't had a Hoff picture yet, but maybe at the end of the day. Some other things, the Pokemon maps on Google, on YouTube, went over to Reddit, and they had the mainframe look to them. That was kind of fun. I actually stayed a little bit away from the April Fool's jokes. Usually on Geekazine I do that. But this year there was way too much going on. And the whole idea was the day in tech history was supposed to be recorded by somebody else for April Fool's joke, but we didn't do that. I'm just so swamped right now with stuff. It's crazy. So, but what we did do last night, this week in Google Glass, we had our little quasi April Fool's joke. I basically invited Sergey Brin onto This Week in Google Glass, and I gave him an invite through the Hangout. And we talked about, Sergey Brin might be coming. We'll be on the show sometime during the evening. And the thing is that, it was never planned or anything like that. And if he would have jumped on, then it would have been like, hey, Sergey, how you doing? But in this case, he didn't show up. And that's okay. I was expecting that not to happen. So we've got that going there. But hey, it is what it is. And we had a lot of fun. We talked a lot about Android wearable. And Luke talked about the fact that the Android wearables is not the same OS as Google Glass. And is that become a competition? Are they starting to think going a different direction with Google Glass? Especially since we've been now learning how to program with Google Glass. Do we have to switch everything up for an Android device? And we'll go back and forth. And I basically said, they had to get into the watch market. Everybody else was in the watch market. It just made perfect sense for them to get in the watch market. So we did that over on This Week in Google Glass. You can check that out over at twig.tv, twigg.tv, or the YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/This Week in Glass. I couldn't do Google Glass. It wouldn't let me. So, all right. Other things, so lots of April Fool's stuff out there, and I hope you didn't get caught with April Fool's. It's really weird. But the most interesting April Fool's, and I haven't checked it yet, was ThinkGeek. Let's see what ThinkGeek has, because usually half the times when they do stuff, they usually do it, and there's got some sort of practicality to it. So there's a possibility that their jokes could actually become real things. Now let's see. We've got the flux capacitor car charger, the Nerf Nerf nuke, and then Mr. Beard machine. But I've seen somebody's actually made a little beard machine to make your beard a little bit, aligned, and so that might not be one of their April Fool's jokes. Let's see. Let's hit the buy it now button to see if that's the case. Now you can fool your friends. Yeah, share Mr. Beard machine with other people. So yeah, that was the one thing. Let's go back here. That's the Mr. Beard machine. I'll show you that to you. There it is right there on Think Geek. So that was one of their jokes. But like I said, I've actually seen a Mr. It wasn't probably wasn't a Mr. Beard thing, but it definitely was a joke that they had. So I'm just switching something over here. Hold on a second. So yeah, that's so that was part of the April Fool's jokes there, and so I don't know. Did you get fooled with any of that stuff? Did you not get fooled? Did you just stay away from the interwebs? Let me know. Tweet me at Geekazine at gmail.com, and we'll go from there. So, all right, let's move on. Of course, finished up all the South by Southwest videos except for one, and there's a reason why, and which will come clear when we finally post that out. I've got a couple emails out. We're going to be doing something, and we don't have everything in play yet to do it. And once that happens, I'll get that final video out and go from there. But now it's time to get ready for NAB, National Association of Broadcasters. And with that, I made my rig. You might, if you've been to Geekazine.com, you saw the Wally rig, and I'll show it to you really quick here over on Geekazine.com. The Wally rig is a multi-camera rig, which I will be using at NAB to catch not every single video, but certain videos that I really want to take 2 or 3 different angles from and go from there. So here it is. This is the Wally, what's dubbed as Wally 5, because it looks like Wally. And it's basically got 3 cameras on it. It's got the wireless for audio, and it's got some lights on it, and it's got some other stuff on the stand, about 11 pounds. And of course, you can watch the whole video here. And I've got everything here. If you want to get the items, all you have to do is click on that link right there. All the items can be found here. Boom, and you can purchase the clamps and the stands and everything like that. Here's some more pictures of it. And then, of course, the video Wally 5 version 2 for NAB. So on Friday, I'm going to National Association of Broadcasters, or NAB. I'm going to have a lot of fun there, and we're going to do a lot there. So stick close. And of course, my sponsor, I'd like to thank my sponsor, OWC, Other World Computing. You can check out all their deals over at geekazine.com/OWC, and get yourself, upgrade your memory for your older Mac or your newer Mac for a fraction of the price that you would do it at Apple, or even your PC. And they have ways to take old computers and make them feel a little bit newer again. And so thank you very much over at Old World Computing that's sending me out here for NAB. Schedule basically NAB this month. Next month, I am going to New York. Actually, if everything falls into place, next month I'll be in New York. The following month, I'll be in New York once again for something different, and kind of like a mini vacation for me in June. And then towards the end of June, I will either be in San Francisco or in Detroit. Maybe I'll be in both, depending on the situation. It hasn't been settled just yet. And then July, we have a full July. August and September, I know that there's going to be at least one time I'm out in San Francisco in September, so that's going to be a lot of fun, and lots of cool stuff there. So check that all out. NAB is the next one. Lots of cool stuff. I'm going to disrupt the broadcasters, the professional movie makers and stuff like that with Wall-E 5. And that's going to be really cool. So I can't wait for that to happen. If you want to check that out, go over to geekazine.com. Keep tabs on it because I'm going to be tweeting. I'm also going to be doing recipes through If That, This, and That, which will then, you'll see the pictures almost right away. All right, what else is going on? Last night we talked on Twig, this week in Google Glass. I think I talked about that. But the bigger thing is this right here. And that is we put out a brand new app for Google Glass. Luke Wallace created it. I'm just promoting it. I had nothing to do with the production of it. I am not a programmer. I never claimed to be one. But we've created an app called Beetlejuice Glass, and it's over on GitHub. So go to Beetlejuice Glass. You'll find GitHub, and then find Luke, which is Luke Luca, Lukeluca, and then /B. And if you do Luke Luca, you'll see Beetlejuice Glass. Of course, if you go over to twig.tv, you'll see the link. Just click on it, and you can put it on there. I don't have it on my Google Glass just yet, but I can't wait to put it on a little bit later today. It's going to be epic. And this is our gift, our April Fool's Day gift to you. And that's the key right there. It's a gift. It's not it is a little bit of a joke. I mean, it's a little funny. I mean, we're not taking it seriously by any means. It's not a big app or anything like that. It's just something fun to do. And if you want to take the code and do something different with it, Luke says go for it. That's why it's up on GitHub. So check that out there. All right, I think that's it for the main news. So I'd like to let's get into the show. Today we're going to be talking about Amazon. Now tomorrow Amazon is going to have a big press release in New York City. And they're going to be talking about their streaming box. And a lot of rumors, I've read a lot of stuff, and it's like, well, what are we going to have? Are we going to have something? Are we going to have the streaming box that's just Amazon specific? Or is it going to be, will we be able to get our Netflixes on there, our Hulu Pluses on there, and other apps? Will it encompass and give you a streaming device? Which it needs to. It really needs to. I'll tell you that straight up. But we'll talk about that on the show. So basically what happens, you've just experienced the VLOG version, the vlog version. We're going to go into, you'll see the Geek Smack logo, and then we're going to go into the actual show. So that's what we're doing right now. You are watching Geek Smack episode number 295 for April 1st, 2014. Happy April Fool's Day, and we'll go from there. So stick around. Here we go.
This is the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, geeks of all ages, welcome to Geek Smack, the show where we smack the geek out of you like Amazon is smacking the geek out of their streaming box. They're going to announce a streaming box tomorrow. We're going to go through the rumors, what I think we're going to see, and a whole bunch more. We've got a lot of good news, so let's get the smack going now. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, geeks of all ages, welcome to the center ring we call Geek Smack, where all the geeks have smacked together, and here we are. So we've got a lot of great tech news for you today. We're going to talk about April Fool's Day pranks, doom for Facebook. What? Deep Space Nine clocks, Amazon picking up shows, and Azure cuts prices, and all that other good stuff. First of all, I want to let you know if this is the first time that you've come to the show, thank you very much for coming to the show. We do this show every single Tuesday for a Tuesday evening, Wednesday morning consumption over at Geekazine.com. We do the show live over at youtube.com/Geekazine every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. For about an hour, I talk, and I have a little vlog section, the VLOG. I'm getting used to that section, where I basically say what's going on. I give you a really quick rundown of what's going on in the show here. But first of all, did you get fooled today with the April Fool's pranks? There's a lot of them out there. We even did one last night on This Week in Google Glass. Yes, if Sergey Brin would have joined our little hangout, and it wouldn't have been an April Fool's joke. It would have been on us, and that would have been cool. But we gave you a gift last night, and the gift is a Google Glass app. So if you've got Google Glass, you can go over to GitHub /Luke Luca. I'll put it up on the screen here. That's Luke Luca. It's right there. Lukeeluca. And it's called the Beetlejuice Glass app. And you'll have to download it to find out what it does. It's a fun little app. It's not going to do anything bad or anything like that, but it'll be a fun little app that you put onto your glass. South by Southwest videos are all done except for one, and there's a reason why. Once that comes to fruition, once we get all our ducks in a row, I'll put out that video, and you'll know why at that point. But now it's time to turn the focus over to National Association of Broadcasters, or NAB, where we get to see all the cool gear for 2014. Software, hardware, and stuff like that. Movie makers, people like me. I'm kind of going to disrupt it with Wally 5. And Wally 5, if you haven't seen the post yet, go over to Geekazine.com. Wally 5 version 2. It's the camera rig for NAB 2014. And basically, I got the full rig. And if you want to create your own Wally 5, it's going to be right there. You can get all the parts, all the clamps, 2 Sony cameras, the Kodak ZI-10, which is the Kodak PlayTouch, and more. And of course, there's a video on me assembling Wally 5 right there. You can check that out over at Geekazine.com. All right, besides that, I had a great Twig last night, this week in Google Glass. You can check that over at twig.tv or twigg.tv. And once again, download the code for the Beetlejuice app, and we'll go from there. All right, that does it for the opening. Let's get into your Tech Smack for today. And of course, Tech Smack is brought to you by our friends over at Carbonite.com. Backup now, backup often, backup off-site with Carbonite.com. You know, save yourself from fire, save yourself from floods, save yourself from hard drive failure. In all reality, I actually had to change out one of the hard drives in my backup device. I do have a backup drive device where I put all the files on, and it was an older drive, and it started to blink, and so I had to. Of course, it's a RAID system, so I could just pull out the drive, put in a newer drive. So I bought some 2 terabyte drives, not two 2 gigabyte drives. That would be kind of lame. But and of course I got everything back up and running. But all those files. Let's say all those drives died. Let's say we had somebody come in and steal that drive array, or fire come to the house. I have everything also backed up on Carbonite.com, and that's the best part. Is if this house doesn't exist tomorrow, I still have my files. If I'm in Las Vegas next week for NAB, I forget a file. It's like, oh, geez, what am I going to do? Oh, that's simple. All I have to do is log into my Carbonite, find the file, download it to the computer I'm on, and go from there. So much more you can do over at Carbonite.com. I'm going to check this out. I mean, I normally talk about the consumer 15-day free trial by going to geekazine.com/carbon-free. But remember, you can also business backup plan that way. If you're a small to medium business, only a few computers, this is perfect. And if you go over to geekazine.com/carbonite, geekazine.com/carbonite, you can actually get in on this. That's about $269, $270 a year. And of course, you'll get a multi-year savings with a 3-year subscription. So if you're just doing it for one computer, do geekazine.com/carbon-free for 15-day free trial. But if you're business and you want to save some money, go over to geekazine.com/carbonite for the business on that. So, all right, let's get into, let's close a couple things here. And let's get into your subject. And of course, today we're going to be talking about the Amazon Stream Box and a little bit later, and what I'm expecting it to be and what I'm expecting to see on there, and go from there. But first of all, we're starting over at time.com. It is time to be on time with Time. The best April Fool's pranks of 2014. Lots of stuff, including Google. Doing their Google, the David Hasselhoff thing was probably the best. Certain pictures, they have this thing called Auto Awesome, which basically takes pictures and enhances it. And if you take like 3 or 4 pictures of the same picture, it'll actually turn it into an animated GIF or do a 4-tile frame Auto Awesome. But a lot of people have been getting the Hoff pasted into their pictures, and I haven't had that yet, which is kind of sad. But maybe. Once I have to upload some pictures a little bit later on today, so we'll see what happens here. Let's do that. But basically, some other things, some other news. NSYNC is getting back together. That was Ryan Seacrest, website for comparing bathroom stalls. The bacon flavored whiskey, that was one of them out there. Let's see, the Chateau by Chester, the Cheetos scented perfume. We had Galactic Cat. Which, cats are always big on the April Fool's Day. The Mars Round Trip by Southwest Airlines. A chicken roasting and bacon sizzling on Netflix. Hulu Plus having the show with Hannibal, a cooking show by Hannibal, which was kind of funny. The edible Domino's pizza box. Now, I don't know. Yesterday we saw a commercial for Little Caesars, and they were promoting bacon wrapped around the pizza. And I don't know if that was an April Fool's Day joke or if they're serious and they actually have bacon wrapped around a pizza. I'll have to check that out. But that sounds kind of cool. The Domino's edible box I could actually see. Went up on... Oh, here's one of the pictures with David Hasselhoff. So you get to see the Hoff in your Google pictures. Different versions of the Hoff. He must have did some green screen. Google hiring a Pokemon master. So if you are a fan of Pokemon. Now this is interesting, the Shelfie. This apparently it's a selfie for your Gmail account. Now I've actually used this. In fact, let me call it up really quick. On my Gmail, I decided to put the Shelfie on the background. And what I did was I took a picture, an actual video I did at South by Southwest, and I can just show the background. So I'm going to turn off my mail so you don't see the mail, and it's still loading up. It's going to take a second here. Here it is right here. So this is my Shelfie background, and this was one of the evenings at South by Southwest. Had a lot of fun there, of course, and so I'm actually using that as my regular Gmail mail page, and it works really well. In fact, I'll just go over to my promotions page because there's nothing sensitive there. So this is what it looks like with Gmail turned on. And like I said, all that email really doesn't matter too much. You can see that if you want to. So I like this Shelfie. So sometimes April Fool's jokes become regular, and I hope that they keep this like this. So really excited about that. But anyway, we've got a lot, and there's a lot more. It's over at time.com. Of course, there are some other links that you can go. If you want to check that out, go over and go to geekazine.com, show notes, link, boom, there you go. You're right there. So, and of course, if you want to subscribe to the show notes, right there too, you can do that through iTunes, through YouTube, through whatever you want to do. All right, let's move on from there. I got to do this first. Let's slide that over. Let's close that out. Last week, the big news, and not April Fool's joke, was that Facebook purchased Oculus, the Oculus VR headset. Now, since the purchase of the Oculus VR headset, they've had some very interesting death threats. They've had people trying to get out of Kickstarter, because last year they did a Kickstarter and to raise funds to build this Oculus headset. So a lot of people have hated the fact that Facebook bought out Oculus. Now, as for the Kickstarter people, did you get your Oculus? Did you get what you put in for the backer level? Then you can't complain. Nobody knew a year ago that Oculus was going to be bought out by Facebook. It just happened. So asking for your money back at this point in the game, I think, is stupid. If you got a pair of Oculus and they didn't work, and that was your backer level, and they get no support from them, yeah, ask for your money back. But if they have some good fortune, like $19 billion coming their way, you can't ask for that. So now a lot of people are wondering what Facebook is working on with Oculus. Are they going to integrate it with Facebook? Are you going to see a 3D version of Facebook happening? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe they're going to compete. They're now in the wearable market, which a lot of companies are getting into wearable device markets. I would have not been surprised if Facebook came out with a Facebook Watch. I would have not been surprised if Facebook came out with some other device that notified you when you had new posts or anything like that. So, this is just another level. Now, on the same token, we're not going to be wearing Oculus VR headsets walking down the street, but we are going to be watching movies with these things. We are going to be watching videos with these things. It would be kind of cool if I could start taking, there are cameras out there with 3D lenses. I could take a 3D picture just like that. I could see a resurgence of 3D using a headset like that, as long as you could see it in 2D as well as 3D. That's some possibilities. So lots of interesting things, lots of avenues that Facebook can go down with this device. So we'll see what happens here. But what are your thoughts? Do you like the fact that Facebook put money into a company like this? Or do you think that Oculus just sold out? Let me know. You can Twitter me. My Geek is my Twitter handle. My Geekazine handle is Twitter, and my Twitter handle is Geekazine. That's over at geekazine.com. Think magazine, put in a geek, boom, you've got Geekazine. And, of course, the email is geekazine@gmail.com. We also have the phone number, 608-205-4378. Bruce Barr sent a voicemail. It was about day in tech history, and he was trying to throw me on April 1st. He goes, because some things that happened on the day in tech history. Today in 1976, Steve Wozniak, Steve Jobs, and Wayne, not Wayne Knight, I can't remember the further name. 1976, they founded Apple. And so that's not an April Fool's Day joke. That's the actual truth. And then, of course, Gmail opened up their private beta in 2004. That was 10 years ago. So you can check that out over at Day in Tech History. But he tried to fool me. He goes, that Matrix show that was with Samuel L. Jackson. And he didn't say Samuel L. Jackson. He said something else. Samuel L. Something. I can't remember the name he said. He was trying to throw me off. So, Bruce, I caught on to you. Just so you know, I caught on to you. So let's move on from here. We're going to go over to Bloomberg.com. The U.S. is holding on to $1.64 trillion in cash. Apple has the lead of the U.S. companies outside the finance industry with $538.81 million or something like that. 12% up from prior records. Apple, Microsoft, Google, and Verizon are topping the list of cash cows in the United States, cash-rich companies. So they're basically stockpiling cash. There's a point, especially when you're an investor, there's a point where you got to say, we've got to give some of that money back, or else some people will start wondering what we're doing. And then next thing you know, we've got new lawsuits that we have to worry about. So, but Apple's holding a cash pile of $158.8 billion, which is $5.46 billion from starting 2004. And it's interesting how they're holding that much money and not giving it back to shareholders. Simple as that. So, if I was a stockholder of those companies, I would say, hey, where's the money? Show me the money. Show me the money. I don't know. Anyway, are you worried about that? Are you thinking that, maybe they're saving for a rainy day when the stocks start to tumble, they can reinfuse some money into their stock? Let me know. I know a little bit about the stock market, but not enough enough to be dangerous. Let's put it that way. So if you have any stock tips for me, Geekazine is the Twitter handle. Of course, geekazine@gmail.com. If you want to donate a couple stocks my way, feel free to do so as well. I got one. This is my one stock right there. One share of Facebook. I've played the market before. I got out about 3 years ago simply because I wanted to invest into Geekazine. And I'll probably get back in the stock market eventually. But right now, I have one share of Facebook, and it's doing pretty good. So anyway, check that all out. If you want the links, they're in the show notes over at geekazine.com. All right, let's move on from here. We're going to go over to PC Mag. And Google Plus has put in this thing called the ads, their profile view counter. Now, basically what it is this little device, and here, I'll just go over to my page here really quick. It's just a counter that says how many times somebody's viewed you. And it's not an accurate counter by any means, They're guesstimating. So I'm going to go over to my Google Plus profile. I'm going to bring it up here. And it says that in my Google Plus profile, let's get that out of the way, I've been viewed 1,950,526 times. Now I'm viewing it as myself. Let's view it as the public to see how other people see my page. As you can see, it's very bright and very good. And so I have 27,000 followers over on Google Plus and almost 2 million views. So thank you very much for coming to the show, to my Google Plus page. If you want to get to my Google Plus page, it's simply plus.google.com/plus Jeffrey Powers, Jeffrey Powers, Jeffrey Powers, and go from there. All right, let's move on. Going over to TechCrunch. I guess the creator of Doom is now part of the Facebook world. He and no word whether he's going to actually be making a Doom for Facebook or anything like that. Maybe that's next year's April Fool's Day thing. I don't know. So this is over at TechCrunch.com, and of course his name Carmack, John Carmack. There it is. John Carmack will be a Facebook employee. He made Doom, Quake, and a lot of other programs, and a lot of ties here in Madison, Wisconsin when it comes to Doom. Actually, I think it was Doom that was released here at the university back in 1994, I think it was. I'm trying to remember my day in tech history stuff. So lots of cool stuff. Of course, you buy a VR company, you're going to make games for it. And, you get into that world, you need a creator like that. So congratulations to John Carmack. He was part of ID Software for Oculus VR in 2013. And he decided to make the jump to Facebook. So that should be good for him. Lots of new cool stuff going our ways. And we'll see how that all works in the end. So TechCrunch.com for that. What do you think? Do you think that's a good move? Let me know. Twitter me over at Geekazine. All right, it's a new day over at Xbox. Speaking of shifts and stuff like that, as Xbox has gotten a new head of the Xbox division, and his name was Phil Spencer, head of Xbox. So congratulations to Phil Spencer on that. Xbox getting, of course, Xbox One coming out. We've got a lot to look forward to in the future when it comes to Xbox. So I can't wait to see what he comes up with. But the one thing, if you're listening, please get rid of the gold membership. I'll buy an Xbox One if I can stream video from it without having to pay a yearly fee. Simple as that. So get rid of that and I'll be good. But anyway, if you want to check that out, go over. We've got it directly from news.xbox.one. All right, let's move on. Intel, at CES, Intel came out with this SD-sized card computer. It was called the Intel Edison, or Intel, using the Intel Quark processor. It's a Linux-based PC. It has Bluetooth, it has Wi-Fi, and the whole idea of this computer was mostly for wearable technology. I mean, if I was to make some sort of shirt that was wearable technology, or watch or glass or something like that, I could easily use this processor right here and put it in there, because it's the size of an SD card. And now they're saying that it's not really the size; it's a little bit bigger than that, but it's still, from the computer I have right here, the computer I have right here, even the computer I have right here. That's awesome. I love small. So we'll see what happens there. If you want to read more on that, go over to Engadget.com. We got a couple more articles in the first part, and then we'll get you into the second half. In the next one, we're going to talk about cars. And the Department of Transportation has addressed something. Getting rear view put into your car is actually very easy nowadays. In fact, we were over at AutoZone the other day because I was geeking out on the LED lights and thinking, what if I put a couple strips back here and then hooked up a battery or something like that to it instead of putting it in my car? Because I could easily do that. That's what they were doing at the car place. So, and then I was thinking, how do I put that on my cameras and use that and that aspect? But then I was also looking at these rear view cameras, which are wireless cameras. So basically, you cut a small hole in the bumper or something like that. You put the camera in there, and then you put the little dash cam on, the little screen on, and then it wirelessly hooks up with the back, and of course you hook it up to the power in the car, and then they hook up with each other, and then you can see what's going on. Well, since this is, we're talking, I think that was like $40-50 to actually get that rear view car mount. Department of Transportation saying, if it's only $50, it should be in every single vehicle. So what they decided was that by May of 2018, all car companies, and I think this is just in the U.S., all car companies will have a backup system in new model cars. And so I think that's great. Now, whether they do things like driver assist or anything like that, that remains to be seen. But, I just did a video with, what was it, Papago. And I think I have it. No, I don't have it around. I think it's over there. The Papago little camera that you affix to your windshield, and it helps you with your driving there. So cameras, and that's what was it, a couple $100 for that camera? That they're so cheap that not cheap as in construction, but they're cheap as in price. They're so cheap, then I can see car companies actually putting this type of stuff into the car because it makes your driving safer. It makes everything safer. And if you can avoid a bumper tap, then why not? I don't know. I'm just saying. So what do you think? Do you think that this is a good idea? Do you think that it's a distraction? Have you ever used a rear view backup monitor? Let me know. Twitter me over at Geekazine. Of course, geekazine@gmail.com. All right, last part here, and then we'll get you in the second half. And then, of course, we'll talk about Amazon and their streaming box. If you're a fan of Deep Space Nine, and who isn't a fan of Deep Space Nine? Okay, so if you're a fan of Deep Space Nine, then this clock is for you. It's engineered to look like Deep Space Nine, but it's a full clock. It's put it on your bedpost or something like, or not your nightstand or something like that. And it's got an alarm to it. It's got everything you need to get up and check the time and go from there. A nice little device, different way to read the time. And it's pretty cool. And they got a video, I think, on this. And, of course, I don't know if you can purchase it, where you can purchase it, but definitely something really cool. It's by the Swiss watch designer Pepe Lepay, I don't know, with microengineering from the lab MB&F. So if you want to check that out, go over to IO9, and you'll have that link. And, of course, we'll have all the links in the show notes and go from there. That does it for the first part of Geek Smack, or the Tech Smack of Geek Smack. We'll get into Geek Smack as Geek Smack. And then, of course, we're going to talk about Amazon and a streaming box. Do you think what are they going to do with the streaming box? I'm calling it the Kindle TV. And we'll see what happens. Of course, the announcement will happen tomorrow. I'll put out my predictions, and we'll do that. We'll do that down the road. But right now, we will do this. You are watching Geek Smack. My name is Jeffrey Powers. This part's brought to you by our friends over at Yes Video. Yes, you can make your videos, and yes, you can have fun doing it. Do you have an 8mm video sitting in your basement? Do you have a beta tape sitting in your basement of, from the camera from the 1980s? They created those. There's two shows now out on TV, one called The Goldbergs and one called, what was it? I just watched it. They just had the pilot on there. Anyway, that was, they're competing. One's from the 80s, one from the 90s. But, with the Goldbergs, he's using his old cassette tapes as reference to what's going on. And then at the end of the show, they actually show, what this episode was about with a clip from the old tape. Well, we don't have our VCRs anymore. At least I don't have my VCRs anymore. No beta, no VHS. I don't have an 8mm camera or a rig to actually hook it up to a computer to digitize it, even though I've got all the software to do it. But why would I invest that software in doing one thing and then, it's just going to sit in a closet? That's what Yes Video is all about. Yes Video is right there. They take your memories and they put them on digital, in the digital space. Not only do you get your videos, you'll get a space on the cloud for those videos, so you can download them. You can get DVDs made. Maybe your family gets DVDs made whenever they want to. You can even take those videos and if there's something funny, put them on YouTube and let them go viral. Maybe there's an 8mm version of Charlie Bit My Finger. Oh, Charlie bit my finger. Yeah, millions of dollars. They made a lot of money off of that. So, and you can too with your old videos. It's over at Yes Video. Check it out. They got a promo code CJ1 free. But if you go over to geekazine.com/yes, geekazine.com/yes, you can get yourself, find out how to bring your videos. You just basically send them the videos, they convert them, and then you get the digital downloads. So watch again and again, create your custom DVDs all over at geekazine.com/yes. All right, let's move on from here. First up, we are going to do, let's go for Geekedia of the Week. And this week's Geekedia of the Week, I'm running a contest over at Geekazine.com where you can win yourself this little thing right here. It's the MSI R7. I'll bring it up here. It's the MSI R7 250 with afterburner support. This is a AMD Radeon video card, and it's got some of the features is with the afterburner support, gives you over voltage function GPU. You can overclock this little puppy right here. It only takes 65 watts of power, so if you've got a computer that has a 300 to 400 watt power supply, you should be able to put in this thing to help with your video. Maybe you're using this as a theater machine or something like that. You can go from there. You can actually put in multiple cards. It supports multi-GPU mode, and it also supports real-time video capturing. So if you're doing some stuff like I am with just a webcam, then you can do that from there. So many different features. It's a sub $100 video card, but it can actually increase and improve your computer if you don't want to go and purchase a new computer. So check it out. We've got the link, of course, links in the show notes. Go over to geekazine.com, and you just have to go through the page. I talk about the good points and the bad points, and then of course go to enter to win. You tweet about the giveaway. You enter in Facebook. You follow Geekazine. You can invent your own option. I don't know what that means, but you can leave a blog post, comment, and more, and you'll get more points to win that and go from there. So that's over at geekazine.com. That is your Geekedia of the Week. Of course, this contest is going until the 11th, and then I'll be giving it away on the show in 2 weeks, because there won't be an episode next week because I'll be in Vegas for NAB. All right, let's move on here. Let's get into the rumor area, and my rumor icon's gone. Interesting. iPhone 6, of course, what everybody's starting to dub as iPhone Air, is in the news, and a lot of people are saying there's going to be the first one's the glass back design is going to come back. And the second one is there's going to be two versions of the model of the iPhone. One's going to have a bigger screen. One's going to have a smaller screen. I'm guessing that you're going to have, I take to guess it's going to be the Air S and the Air C, where the Air S will be a bigger screen. It'll have the fingerprint sensor. It'll have the Retina display. Maybe they'll even increase it and they'll call it a double Retina, like a double rainbow or something like that. I don't know. So, there's a lot of different rumors on there. If you want to read all the rumors, take them with a grain of salt. Check it out over at TechCrunch.com. Moving from TechCrunch to CNET, Apple has won a patent for interchangeable phone camera lenses. A new patent describes the way to attach lenses to the phone via a bayonet mount. So, what does that mean? Because I have actually somewhere back here, I have a couple mounts for my old Kodak cameras, and it was just magnet, and then the cam, and then the thing. I tried it with Google Glass, but since the camera is at an angle, I'd have to straighten out the glass, this part right here, just to put the lens on it. It doesn't really work that well. So, but they got a patent on there, so they're kind of thinking, in the next couple iterations of iPhone, how can they put on interchangeable lenses? How can they make this more functional as a camera that you can pull out of your pocket and get the best picture possible? So interesting stuff. If you want to read more on that, go over to, we got the link, of course, over at cnet.com. And what do you think? Do you think that this is also, a lot of people call it a troll patent? With, like, for instance, I got a patent that does this. This is my patent. And some people, if somebody was to do this, I get a licensing fee. A lot of people say that's a troll patent. Do you think that that's a troll patent for that? Let me know. Twitter me over at Geekazine. Of course, geekazine@gmail.com. All right. The cool thing about South by Southwest, I was at the Samsung Blogger Lounge, and I saw one of the new Galaxy Notes. And I wanted to, I took a few pictures, a little bit of video to show how it works. And then I took a couple screenshots on the Samsung device, and I was like, well, how do I get that over to my device? I'll just I'll just log into my Dropbox account, put the pictures on, and go from there. Well, I got an email from Dropbox saying, well, congratulations, thanks a lot for coming to the Blogger Lounge. Here's 50 gigabytes and you have that for the next 2 years. And it's like, oh, cool. So now I have this big Dropbox account, which is awesome. So I've been putting stuff on, but all my own stuff, nothing copyrighted. And I started thinking about it. It's like, well, what keeps somebody from putting a movie on there and sending it off to a friend? And that's what this next article is about over at TechCrunch.com. It's about how Dropbox knows when you're sharing copyrighted stuff without looking at your stuff. And if you don't think that any cloud service doesn't have software to get an idea of what you're putting on, they're not looking at your stuff, but they've got warning signs to know that, hey, this is the movie Frozen. This is a song by John Mayer. Things like that. And then they'll send you the DMCA takedown on personal folders. And lots of things here. I'll let you read through this. But basically, there's an algorithm. That's the word I was looking for. There's an algorithm out there that lets them figure it out and go from there. And lots of different ways, especially if you just blatantly do it. And there's fingerprints, and if there's if there's digital rights on there, they'll see that too. So if you want to check that out, go over to TechCrunch.com. Move on from there. Let's go over to The Verge. Amazon Studios is actually brought back Alpha House, and they got I think it was like 5 of those shows from a few weeks ago. You remember Amazon was saying, "Hey, we've got these shows. Review them for the week. Say if you like them or not." They took 5 of them. 3 of them are kids shows. 2 of them are regular shows, and one I was kind of excited for the show. It's Mozart in the Wildlife. It was about musicians in New York City, and Mozart in the Jungle, that's what it's called. And I really liked it. I liked how, and Jennifer liked it. We liked how the characters interacted, and we got behind it, so we're glad to see that show. We're going to be watching that, of course. And then a drama called Transparent, which I don't remember if I saw that or not. It was from a detective, Jill Soloway's comedic drama called Transparent. I thought it was a book, but I might be wrong on there. So basically, they've been ordered for a season, so you'll see them on Amazon. Alpha House, which was last year's show with John Goodman about politics in D.C., that was renewed for a second season. So here's some original programming for Amazon for their streamer, which we, of course, will talk about a little bit later. But if you want to read on what made it, what didn't make it, go over to theverge.com. Once again, we'll have the link right in the show notes. And did you expect those shows? Is that what you wanted to see? Let me know. Twitter me over at Geekazine or geekazine@gmail.com. Speaking of over-the-top television, Comedy Central has launched their Comedy Central app. Has over 200 episodes of The Daily Show, of South Park, and a whole bunch more. Now, if you remember correctly, or if you remember correct, I think it's correct. Anyway, The Daily Show was on YouTube for a while, and then they took it off of YouTube, and then it came back to YouTube. It's very popular on these services. Of course, that covers the 18 to 34 range in YouTube, so they need to be on there. But to have their own app might actually bring, ad revenues more towards them than to YouTube. So it's pretty cool that they've got this app, and I'm definitely going to be downloading it. I'll probably be talking about it on iPad 365 in the weeks to come. So if you want to check that out, go over to cnet.com. All right. I think it was last week, Amazon sent me a letter and saying, hey, your Amazon cloud prices, they're going to get price drop. And of course, Amazon's not the only company in the market here. One of the other companies is Microsoft's Azure, Azure. And they saw that and they said, well, we're going to have to compete with what Amazon does. So Amazon drops the price. Well, we're going to drop the price. So they drop prices up to, I think it's 35% and storage up to 65%. Computing, computing if you're using it for an app or something like that. So if you're using it for an app, I use it for media. So I'll be seeing up to a 65% drop in my media bill, which, is nice. Especially when I get something viral on there and it's like all of a sudden I've got a $400 bill and it's like, oops. But it'll be nice to actually have it 35% less or up to 65% less. So if you want to check that out, go over to techeye.net. It's the first time we've been here. So once again, if you see a problem, let me know. We'll change the links up. All right. Over at pcmag.com, there's a nice little article about Chrome extensions for Gmail. If you want to increase your Gmail usage and collection, maybe a little bit of organization, you can check these out. I'll have the link in the show notes that you can look at. And then finally, this is actually really cool. It's over at nerdapproved.com. Check this out. These pieces of artwork are all done using what's called papercraft art. So basically, they take the paper, they cut it out, the design, and then they cut out other designs, they put it all together. Of course, we have what's her name, the princess from Frozen, on this first one. We have some Doctor Who cutouts. We have, I don't know what that one is. Dragons and a girl. We've got Iron Man right there. I just lost my geek card for a couple minutes. We got Zelda. Some really nice cutouts here, so you can check that out. This is my favorite one. I think it's Batman with with this interesting cowl on it. But I don't know. What is that? I haven't figured that out. So if you want to check it out, there's a lot more. You go over to nerdapproved.com and you'll find out a little bit more. Now, these are 3D paper, so they could be layered. They could be right on top of each other. But you can check that out and see if you want to get some of this art yourself and find out a little bit more. We'll have the link in the show notes. So, all right, well, that does it for Geek Smack. And what we're going to do is we're going to turn the tables. We're going to talk for a second. And then, of course, we're going to talk about Amazon. And as Amazon's getting in the streaming business, we knew that was going to happen. Tomorrow, they're going to have a big announcement and their streaming box and what I'm calling Amazon Kindle TV. I'm going to talk about that next. You are watching Geek Smack for April 1st, 2014. It's more than just 750 channels that the Roku can offer that gives you all that content. Each channel can have sub-channels in it, so you can have tens of thousands of hours of video watching and game playing out of your Roku. And prices only start at $49.99. Of course, the Roku 3 for $99.99, and of course you can get the games, you get the game remote as well, and then the privacy mode where you can plug in your headphones right in the remote. That's perfect for when your partner is sleeping, but you want to watch something on TV. Lots of great stuff from Angry Birds to Amazon to Hulu, and of course the Tech Podcast channel. Let me show you this really quick. This is how you get to some of the content from Geekazine on the Tech Podcast channel. You just go into the Tech Podcast video, and you're going to go into Tech News, and you're going to find like the special events, iPad 365, Geek Smack, and a whole bunch more. A lot of other tech podcast shows right on that Roku for you, right at your fingertips, right through the remote. And then, of course, you can get your Netflix, you can get your Amazon, you can get your Hulu just as easy, and many more channels. PBS, we've got Redbox Instant, TV Guide, Sci-Fi Channel, and much more. Check it out. It's all over at Roku. Remember, geekazine.com/Roku. Of course, that helps me keep the lights on for all my shows. Thank you very much. And go over where streaming is made simple. You know, just the other day, I got an email from a viewer stating that they were having problems watching Netflix, and they were using their Wii to do it. I directed them after they saying, well, it works on a computer perfect, but, you know, it freezes up after a while on the Wii. So I directed them to streaming devices out there, which they could use. They could purchase $50, and they have something, which they replied they really only need it for Netflix, because that's all they watch, and they're not planning to get any other service and go from there. So with that, hopefully Amazon will heed that information when they debut their new streaming box. Now, tomorrow, Amazon's going to be announcing their entrance into the streaming media box market. Their set-top box will obviously run Amazon, their TV shows, their movies, and their music on there. But will it do more to appease the Netflix, the Hulu audiences? It really needs to. Although Roku has over 1,000 different channels and games, their bread and butter really relies on those three apps, maybe a fourth app: Netflix, Amazon, Hulu Plus, and then, of course, with audio, Pandora. Apple has iTunes, yet they have these three apps on their device. And even though channels like Plex, ESPN, HBO Go are nipping at the heels, if it wasn't for these three apps, you probably wouldn't have a set-top box or sometimes even a game console hooked up to your TV. Yeah, game consoles. I have my Xbox 360 for the channel content. Now, from rumors that I've seen, I believe that Amazon is going to be able to run all of that and a whole bunch more. I would even venture a guess that this is a streaming box that would actually be running a different version of the Kindle software, kind of like what Chromecast does. They run a different version of Chrome into their device. So would it then be called Kindle TV or Kindle HD? Now, the Amazon streaming devices might also allow you for purchased music to be played along with a possible radio feature, such as what iTunes does with their iTunes Radio. And you could even expect to read a book or two, and I'm really hoping that happens. I mean, you think about it. You have a TV in your kids' room, and so you could pull out a big book or something like that, or you could actually pull up a book on the Kindle, maybe with even some animation, and read it to your kids, nighttime read or family read. You can even hook up with Audible, so it can have somebody talk it while you're reading it, so you can even listen to the pages being read or read this stuff there. And the ads, oh yeah, there's going to be ads in there. If we apply the Amazon thinking into the ad system, there's going to be two versions of the Amazon Kindle streaming box. One, which is a lower price and comes with on-screen ads, and then, of course, the higher price, which doesn't have all of those. There's also going to be ad-supported streaming options, including some way to actually purchase through your Prime account and get things to your doorstep, either through 2-Day Prime or through Drone. As for the price, the streamer will most likely have to stick to the set-top box's price of $100 or less. Otherwise, they might be doomed in their purchases. The only way that we'll see a higher price Amazon Kindle streaming box, and I'm talking like the $200 mark, is if it comes with 1 year of Amazon Prime attached to it. Anything more expensive than that, and you might not get the customer appeal. So what do you think? Are you excited about this Amazon thing here? Do you have Prime? You know, like I said, the one guy, he only had Netflix. He wasn't gonna get another streaming service or anything like that. But do you have Prime? And would you get a box for Prime, if it was just for Prime, just for Amazon content. Let me know. Email me over at geekazine@gmail.com. You can Twitter me over at Geekazine. Of course, Think Magazine, put in a geek, and go from there. I really like the idea, and I'm really hoping that they're going to have the books on the big screen, because then all of a sudden reading becomes a family event as opposed to an individual event. And they can read at their own pace. Time to turn the page. Somebody says turn the page, and it gets flipped and goes from there. Jennifer has a different reading speed than I do, and so we'd have to work it out a little bit. But would I read more if it was up on the big screen? I don't know. I really don't know. We'll have to see. But it'd be great to have that option. I'm really hoping that that the Amazon Kindle TV, as I'm calling it, will have those options, and I'm pretty sure that it will. So anyway, that does it for this episode of Geek Smack. My name is Jeffrey Powers. Thanks a lot for watching. Tell me what you think, what you like, what you didn't like, and of course, we'll go from there. Geekazine is the Twitter handle. Think Magazine, put in a geek. You got it right there. All right, once again, programming note, next week I will be at Las Vegas for NAB, the National Association of Broadcasters, so we're not going to have a show next week unless something happens and I have time to actually do it. But otherwise, we will be back in 2 weeks straight from Vegas. I'll have a lot of cool tech news, a lot of geek news for you, and I go from there. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks a lot for listening over on iTunes, over on Stitcher, or wherever you listen or watch this show. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next week. My name is Jeffrey Powers. You guys geek out and take care.